Hey folks, time again to do a retro CSS battle. These are finishing up March of 2024. I've got 4 to do today. We got the 28th, there's the 29th, the 30th, and the 31st. And I think I want to like tune. I feel like I've been using font size. I don't think that I've ever played with the font sizes here, but probably you'd like to be able to read this if you do want to read these. So I'm just bumping up the font size on these just a little bit, and let's get right to it. All right. So what is this guy? What is he? I feel like one thing that I don't do very often is use the HTML element. It is a valid element, so let's start there, and then let's use nesting. So I'm going to put a star on the inside to represent this color, and that's really the body. So there it is. So let's tune our margins. We'll put the margins on the body and see how far we get. 20, 10, 30, 40, 50, 60. Okay, and then what is that, 55? 55, and then if we do a border radius of some value, 10Q, 20Q, 30Q, 40Q, 41, 42, 43, how about 43Q? All right, cool. And then, okay, we'll make an element. I feel like the right call here is to also do nesting. P, there's your paragraph element, and we're going to have a background of some color. We're going to have a width of 10, height of 10. There it is. Voila. Too small. We need to do padding here. Padding. How do we, if we put, we'll do, I guess we'll do margins, huh? Margin 0, 0, 40, 20, 40, 60. Ah, the margins are collapsing, aren't they? Yes, they are. Super special. So how about we do a padding? There it is. So that's padding enough to force things to be not what we want, right? So what padding can we do to just put it right where we want it? And let's do heights and widths that make sense. 50, 20. Is it 30? 30. And then a height of 50, let's say. How about 40? How about 30? Okay, cool. So this padding is no good. 10, 0, 0, 10. We've got widths and heights on this paragraph element, but somehow we're still affecting the body. Maybe that's no good. 0. And in theory, this padding should be applying so this is one of the perils of, oh, so the nesting is, we've got padding affecting the whole thing. So let's go ahead and nest in here as well. And we get something more reasonable. Yeah, there we go. 10, 0, 0, 0, 10, 0. Margin star. So if we do body, do we not see that? Yeah. So the specificity is getting the best of it. So anything that we set in terms of the margins, we also need to set on the children. So if we don't using the keyword body is probably, for my purposes here, the right call. So there's 20, 25, 27, 30, okay, 20, 30, and then the height needs to be 40, 50. There we go. Border radius, 10Q, 15Q. All right, there's your first one. Now, I think this is really all about the box shadow. Box shadow of 30 pixels 0. There's one. Is it 50? And if we set a color, now we can do this. Clump, there it is. But if we set a color, then the default box shadow will be the right thing. So 50, 100, 150, 200 pixels. Ah, whoops, comma. And once again, missing a value, there it is. One bad chunk of code negates the whole thing. So we need these, and then we need a vertical. 30 pixels, 40, 50, 60, 70. Okay. So each one of these needs to be 70. Next we need a 0, 70 as well. And then that's all the pieces. Let's submit that and see if we got 100% match. That's 100% match. We'll unit replace and minify, and that's all good. Let's resubmit. So kind of on the silly side, more than anything. That's all good. All right, next. What is this? So let's do the naive thing. I aspect ratio 1, and then do border 10, what is it, 20 pixels solid, that color. Rotate 45 degrees. And then let's do display flex or display grid on the body. Display grid, justify content center, align items center. Oh, and just you got to spell display correctly. There it is. And I guess we need a. Actually, we probably need flex, don't we? Yeah, flex. Flex will do it. All right. So is the width wrong? Width right? Let's do the background color correctly. Height 105, 90, and then the border 30. That seems to match up pretty well. So now it's about putting on the body background conic gradient. That's my preferred. Of this correct color. 270 degrees around, or 75%, and then blue 0, and then we put it in the upper corner with 0, 0, and then we give it a height and width. 200 pixels, 200 pixels. It's not right, but you know, we'll play with it. So we need to make, let's add a no repeat so we get the width right. So what, 210, 215, and let's get the height right. 150, 170, 175, oh, 165. Okay, now we need to move the center of that at 80%. At 80%, 80%. We'll try. 80, so vertically 81, 82, and then horizontally 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86. And then we'd let it repeat and submit and see if we've got it. Doesn't look quite right, but it's close. 99.9%. Okay, so what's the problem? These percentages, I'm sure, are an issue. Let's just do 145 pixels. 5, 60, 70, 80. And resubmit. We'll try that. Probably it's the vertical though. 99.9%. How about 100 pixels? 110, 20, 30, 35. And resubmit. %. Ooh. This is just not quite right. I'm not seeing the diff. So let's use margins. Setting margins to center this the best we can. $75 and 117. How's that? Sure looks right. 99.9%. So what's the problem? So my classic technique for when I got this problem of an alignment is to try another technique. And for me, let's go blank template. We'll make 4 elements. The first one is not flopped at all. The second one is flopped on the x-axis. The fourth is flopped on the y-axis. And the fifth is flopped on both the x and y-axis, which looks like this. It could be a height and the width. And width is going to be 200. Height is going to be 150. And we need a display flex. We need margins of 0 on everything. There's your margin of 0. And then we need a scale that's at var dash dash x or 1 and var dash dash y or 1. Okay. So now we need a display flex on the body. Then we need a flex wrap. Of wrap. And they're all pink, so right now we don't have anything to distinguish them. So let's do a linear gradient from what? 135 degrees. Color red. And then, so you kind of see it happening there. So I got red there just as a goofy color. We set our dash dash x of -1 for x attribute 1's elements, and y of dash dash y of -1. And then you can kind of see what I'm talking about. All right, so let's set a color stop, and we'll do transparent. Actually, our colors is transparent of like 30 pixels probably. And then we got this color, and then transparent again. All right. And I guess we need what, -135? No, we need -45. There it is. So let's go 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's set 100 there. 60 is too much. 50, 40, 44, 45, 45 pixels. and then to 80 pixels. 80 pixels. How about 75? All right, and then that's another technique to get that diamond shape. And we are getting a fairly, you know, not too bad. Okay, next is our conic gradient again. Which again is the same 75% of that, and then the dark color, that. And then we move our at value to 80%, 80%. Again, how about 90%? And then 90%. And then we point out that we actually need the inner color there to color that up. All right. So, A1, A2, A3. How about 150, 140 pixels? 50, 60, 70, 80, 85. And let's try that. Hopefully that'll do it. If not, we'll be stuck in 99.9% land, which we don't want to be. Okay, so there it is. That's 100% match. We accept the judgment of the CSS Battle servers that that's what we need to do. 4 elements, then they're flopped. And this is a slightly better score than I've gotten in the past, so we'll take that. That's fine. All right, next. This guy's sure interesting. I kind of feel like I want to start with, I don't know, because we've got this rotated around type scenario. Maybe we want 2 elements, one of which is flipped upside down. That might be fun. Let's try that. All right, so what we want to do is make this shape. So what do we need to do to just do that? So let's set a background of this, and then a single element like that. And actually, let's just do one at a time. And we'll do the first one, which is, all right, so we need a top margin that's more, 110, 90, and then 65 or 67. Okay. And actually, well, let's just go whole hog. We'll go 200 is the height, 210 rather is the height, and then let's do margins to create that shape. So we just want to be at this width. Okay, here we go. Ready? let's see if we can figure it out. We want to do, so we need other margins, 0, 0. There. So by altering this second margin value, we narrow in 4, 5, 7, and now we have that shape. So now it's a conic and then a linear gradient. And it's what, 4 quadrants. We've got purple, 25%. And I think this is even, so that's even, that's great. 0, 50%. And then I'll do a color so you can see kind of what I'm doing there. So that's the conic gradient so far, right? We do purple to 75%, and then transparent, right? And then if we do another gradient, linear gradient, and that's 2 kinds of stripes. Color stop 50% and 0. Now you can't see what that is, but we need a height. The HUD, so it's the 100% wide, or actually, yeah, 100% wide, and then what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1/6. So 30 pixels, we do that, then we might have it. How about 40? Or 50, 20. So interestingly, oh, because we want the height of it, we want to set it 0, 0, 0. So let's do that. 30, 40, 35. Is that correct? Oh, so okay, we do need an at. So we're at the wrong at. 50%, 100 pixels. 10, 20. So at what point is it? Oh, there it is. So 110, 120. Okay. And then this height is the one we care about. I'm just going to continue to refuse to be correct. There it is. Oh, and even more, it's not dead center. So we want 110. No, more like 80 pixels. So there's the first one. We add another one. So here's the second one, P plus P. Going to do background. I'm just going to do a bare red. And then set margins. And what I want to do is just use these same numbers and see how much I can get out of that. So let's do a negative number. There it is. And then if we flop the 147 and 67, there's our shape. And then just go up to 300. Okay. So there's our shape. And then what if I do a scale -1? And that's the shape. So one is overlapping the other. They have the same background, but when they're flopped, we get this symmetry. All right. You know, it's not awesome, but it's kind of fun and interesting. You replace humidify, and we're all done with that guy. That's one way to make a complicated shape. 2 linear gradients and a bunch of margins. And that's a better score than I've gotten in the past, which is a nice surprise. All right, next. What's this guy? Kind of on the bizarre side, huh? Are these all three the same shape actually? We get these interesting, can we use block shadows here? It's like a kind of a ladder and square, like, you know, is it pixel art? Pixels. Elements and then backgrounds. All right, let's say there are 3 elements, right? And they all have a width. Let's say, are they all width 100? And for display flex, let's put a background there. Or actually, even better, let's not do a background, and let's put the background on the elements. We've got 3 elements, but we've got a height and width of whatever. And the middle one is different, so put an attribute there. B has a different background. It's got this background. There it is, kind of. All right, what happens if we remove the margins there? So width of, make a bigger height. margin of 0, or margin of 0 on everything, star margin 0. Okay. 120, 130, 135, 137, 140, 140. Oh, the middle one's a little bit narrower, huh? Width of, let's call it 50, just to really make sure we know what we're doing. Okay, so 150 is the width. No, 140, 130, 135. All right, and this is 100 in the middle. 10, 20, 30. Okay. So this is what we got to start with, and we're just using background. So what can we do to make this work? What margins can we set? So if we make these heights different, margin, we set a margin of 100 at the top, we get that. So let's 7, 6. And then what height do we need to accommodate each one of these? Height 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. All right. All right. Now on the body. We got that. And then strictly speaking, we don't need to do this because that's still the same. But let's set a background of a conic gradient. That is transparent, 75% round, and then that. And then at 30 pixels, 30 pixels. Too small, probably. How about 50 and 50? And then we move that into place. 50 pixels, 100 pixels. Too much, but you know, the idea. 40 over, 45 over, 50 over, 30, 50, 60, 65. Interestingly, not quite getting it done, is it? So what I do for one doesn't work on the other, and that is a bummer. Is this width wrong? 2, 3, 31, 32, 130. Yeah, this technique might not be working at all, and that is no good. So be 65. So it's just slightly asymmetrical, maybe. So then we need a C attribute for this guy. So that's var of 50 pixels. And we'll give that an A value because that's our first sort of hack. Dash dash A of 51 pixels. 2, 3. How about 43? 33. Oh, hilarious. No, it's not the 50 pixel is fine. It's the position is the problem. If I do 50 over, 35 over, there, 40, and then 45. 40, okay, 40, so var A of 40. 45 pixels. I don't think this is working very well. You're shocked. So is the problem the widths? So we got a little bit of flex collapse here, like these guys are shrinking in some way. So let's test that theory. Remove the background and the body. And let's set this color. And then we'll put on the body background. That looks pretty good. Like that, I think that 135 width is correct. And this should just be 45 pixels. And that's, I mean, that's great. Like that is actually working. So, C just needs its own background. Let's do one at a time. So there's thing 2, B, and let's get rid of that terrible background. All right, so for B, well, let's do a linear gradient for this one rather than a conic gradient. I know it doesn't, you know, it's not great. Say 50%. Yeah, 50%, and then it's got a width of 100 pixels, and then it's repeat Y. Let's say, there we go, that color and that color. So there's your stripe, and then vertically we need, you know, 30 pixels or something. 50 pixels. There's your stripes. So let's do a no repeat and really nail no repeat and nail the shape of this. So we're too wide, so let's make it 50. There it is. And then let's make it taller, 50, 60, 70, 80. That position is what? 20 pixels. 25 pixels, okay. And then the height needs to be greater, 90. And then this color stop should be 40. And then when we let it repeat on the y-axis, we'll be okay. And we give it a background color. And that's the second part. All right. A lot different from this one. So not much to be gained. Now, PC, I would like to see that just work, but it looks like that it's not going to quite work. So let's copy that same, yeah, we'll copy that same color, same background, and let's see if we can make that one work. So it's at 50 pixels, and then what, 50, 30, 40. See, it's really just that variable. So var x, and x is not a good variable name really for things like this. That x should be 40 pixels. That made it work. So this is definitely a weird one. And those are all the pieces and the parts. Let's submit that and make sure we're 100%, and then we're out of here. And that rounds out March of 2024. And yeah, so that's fine. Do I need the star margin? Yeah, I do, because that removes the default marks on the body and on the paragraph tags, which are important for this particular solution. We can do so we could do variables, but we have a variable inside a variable because we have a different position. I suppose that if this one's scaled, like it's possible that this one is, let's try it. So scale -1, that do it? That also does it. Let's submit that. So that's not as bad. And then if we do that, we can use CSS var for that, and rather than have the whole keyword back out. So var --g, comma, and then all this mess. And actually, we don't need that, do we? No, we don't need that. And then we can just do --g. And then we can make width a variable as well, var --w, or 135 pixels, but you know, like that. and then unit replace and minify, and that's your solution. Not too bad. Surprisingly, little oh, whoops! And then of course I borked the sizing of the middle one. So B is bad. Linear gradient. I'm missing a colon. So yeah, don't submit that. Don't submit it. You gotta watch the screen. Repeat Y, etc., etc., etc. Do we need this default? Yes, we do. This could be done with the conic gradient as well. Could do things with CSS nesting, and could have done this with a conic gradient that then repeats, right, with a different background position, and just do the middle one. A lot of choices. This is definitely another shape with so many choices that kind of makes your head spin how many different ways you could do it. So that's a fun way to close out March with tons of box shadows, 4 elements, so it's symmetrical around the center point, and then 2 elements sort of jimmying into position with scaling. So scale came into play in 1, 2, 3 of these solutions, and that rounds out March. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Make something with HTML and CSS today. These are really fun technologies, and they are available to you. Check out CSSBattle.dev. If you've got the Plus membership, as I do, you can do these prior solutions, and you can solve them better than me. After having watched me do some of these, you think, oh, here's a way to do that. That's way better. No doubt there are some great players on CSS Battle that do really clever things with lots more attributes. I tend to be background margin and element heavy, but you can do all this stuff with borders. You can do this stuff with more box shadows. You can do this stuff with more clip paths, and so many ways to do it. All right, take care. Have a great day. Bye.